Hi, my name is Ben Sayer. In this video, I want to show you how to create an abstract of an obituary. I've got this boilerplate of an obituary abstract already created for you that I use, and I added this process steps to the beginning of this, and I'll put this in the show notes so you can grab a copy and use it in whatever text editor you happen to use, whether it's Notepad or WordPad or TextEdit, depending on whether you're on a PC or a Mac and what editor you'd like to use. You can just copy and paste this into that and save it as a local template file for you to use, and then bring it up along with the obituary, either an image of it as I have here or the actual physical copy of it that you have in front of you. Now I'm going to take you through a series of examples here as they go back in time from 1851, 1875, 1925, 1950, and 2000, and show you how to apply this template to the different obituaries. And that should give you a good sample of how this is used and how it applies to obituaries of various sizes and from various periods. So if we take a quick look at the process first, and then we'll apply it. The first step we want to take is to read through the obituary from beginning to end, and as you come upon a piece of information that is of genealogical significance, you fill it in the boilerplate. So you can see down here at the beginning, if you have the person's name, you put it in anywhere where the person's name goes, and their residence at death and their death date, and down farther you'll see there's information about their ranks in different military services, any occupations or hobbies that they had, and then a paragraph about their different relations and whether they preceded that person in death or succeeded that person. And then at the very end, you'll put in your name and the date that you abstracted it. Once you're done copying the information, abstracting it from your obituary into the template, you will remove any unused boilerplate and placeholders. Especially in the older obituaries, you'll find that they were very Spartan in what they recorded, very specific to the death event itself. So there'll be a lot to remove. And then you'll edit that, what's remaining, for flow to make sure that it flows well. And then you'll verify the accuracy of your abstraction. So check every single thing that you put in here against the source to make sure that it is the same. And then finally you'll copy what remains and paste it into your genealogical database, whatever that happens to be, and cite the source of the obituary within your genealogical database. So let me take you through that process with these examples. So here we've got an obituary from 1851, and it starts out at Stapleton, Staten Island. So that's the death place. So we'll go into our template here and we'll put in the death place. And we'll keep the at, so I'm going to replace this, and I'll just type in exactly what is in the obituary. Okay. And then we go back to the obituary and continue reading on Tuesday, November 4th. So that's the death date. And we can just stick that right in here where it says death date. November 4, and we know the year was in 1851. And then we continue reading Mrs. Frances White, that's the name. So we'll put that in here. Frances with an ES, White. And we're going to need this first name. We've got Frances, and various places in here we've got names. So this is parents' names. We're going to ignore that. First name here, we can put in Frances. Was blah, blah, blah. Last name, we're not going to use that. She wasn't in any branch of the military service, so I'm not going to bother putting that in. I probably didn't need to put the occupations in here because it doesn't mention it. And it also does not mention any relations. So if it did, though, we could replace this first name with Francis, and so on through this file. We don't need to do those in this case, so we're not going to. So we'll pick up where we left off from Mrs. Frances White, and then aged 64. So we've got an age here at age 64. We'll plug that in. Then we'll continue on. It says her funeral will take place this day, November 5. So we'll go down here to funeral and replace funeral date with November 5, 1851 at 12 o'clock. From the Methodist Church, Stapleton. And so we'll put funeral place will be Methodist Church, Stapleton. Okay, and then we go back to the obituary, and it now moves on to a different person, so we've captured all the pertinent facts from this obituary, and we move on to the second step here, which is remove unused boilerplate and placeholders. So we'll go through here, and it doesn't specifically list her residence, so we will take that out. So we'll say, and we'll take out the brackets. Mrs. Frances White died on, we'll take the brackets out, 1851, November 4, 1851 at Stapleton, Staten Island, and we'll take out the cause of death at age 64. And then we didn't have any information about her birth or her parent, nor her parents. We did have funeral service, so we'll leave that part. Funeral services, November 5th, 1851, 12 o'clock at Methodist Church, Stapleton. No burial information. And then we didn't get any information about her occupations, hobbies, any positions that she held, any military service, awards, nothing like that, so we can get rid of those. And also it did not say anything about relations, so we can remove all of that. And then you put in the information here. And then we'll put the date, which today is 8 January 2011. And put in the date, 8 January 2011. Okay, step 3, edit for flow. So let's read through this to make sure that it flows well. Mrs. Frances White died on November 4, 1851 at Stapleton, Staten Island at age 64. Funeral services November 5th, 1851 at 12 o'clock at Methodist Church, Stapleton. So the only thing in there that didn't flow really well, and this is personal preference, funeral services you might want were held at or something like that, but for my case this is an abstract, and it makes plain the specific details that we want for genealogy. So I'm going to leave it the way that it is, and now we want to verify the accuracy of the abstraction. So we have Mrs. Frances White, so we want to go back in here and check the spelling, F-R-A-N-C-E-S, White, so we got that correct. The death date, let's make sure we got that right, November 4, and this is 1851. And then Stapleton, Staten Island, we got that correct, at age 64. And then the funeral services, 5 November 1851. At 12 o'clock at Methodist Church, Stapleton. This is all good. I'm going to change the date formats on these to be the genealogical format that I prefer for November 1851. Okay, so we finished the step 4, and now the last thing that we'll want to do is select that, copy it, and then switch over to your genealogy application and paste it into the death event, or if you've got event facts or something like that. If your package does not have notes for events, then you can just paste it in a person note or something like that. The event note is preferable, and you'll want to create the source for that. You'll want to make sure that you cite your source and link it to this abstract.